What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. And today we got a lot to talk about. We are going to talk about and get into a lot of things with these House Dems, with Donald Trump, with the Saudis, with Pharrell Williams, with Roland Martin. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of things. So you guys get ready, and we'll start right now. Here we go. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and you're watching the Red Cup Podcast, where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. I hope you guys like that intro. I'm trying something different. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm on an hour earlier because I'm trying different things. Okay. I want to see, different times, how things work. So I'm trying different things. If you like it, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. It's all engagement. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in an hour earlier, or kind of like 40 minutes earlier. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. Anyway, it's Wednesday and you know how it goes. So let me go ahead and get roll call because we have a lot, and I do mean a lot to talk about. I think this is probably an hour and a half show. Okay. But hold your horses because we're going to get into a lot. So let me go ahead and do my roll call. What's going on, Donnie Campbell? What's going on, Naomi Brown? What's going on, Brian? What's going on, your car? Tyrone, Mandy, I see you guys. Thank you all for pulling up so early, loud and clear. Rodney, I see you, Gerard. All you guys, thank you so much for pulling up early. We're going to go ahead and get started because we got a lot to get into. It has been a good week. Okay. A good week for news, a good week for politics, a good week for pop culture, everything. Okay. So let's go ahead, you guys, and get into it. All right, so I want to go ahead and get into quick shots. If you don't know what quick shots is, it's our short stories where we take a little shot. We always pour it up here, okay? We always got our cups. We always pour it up, but sometimes we don't want to do a long, drawn out story, so we call it shots, okay? Take a little shot. All right, so you guys, I want to get into first Pharrell Williams, okay? And if you don't know who Pharrell Williams is a music mogul, superstar, whatever you want to call somebody that has made it in music. Pharrell is that, okay? He's been in it for 40 plus years, I want to say. Damn near, all right? And I want to get into something that he said that went viral and is sending the internet ablaze and is sending people like Roland and his neck and everything else on his body rolling. Okay. It sent him into a tizzy. So I want to go ahead and get into that, you guys, because it is absolutely insane the backlash he got for saying something pretty much innocent and pretty much what everybody thinks anyway. Let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go, you guys. And Pharrell was absolutely correct. Now, if you didn't hear what he said, Pharrell was basically saying that he wants to be in the room because he is the best. Okay. He doesn't want to be DEI hire. He doesn't want diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you have it, fine. But what he can bank on is himself and being the best. And Pharrell has been that for the most part of, my entire life. All right. And even some older generations, because I went back and looked up that Pharrell was, instrumental in people during the 80s and the early 90s careers. Okay. So he's been around a long time, and just happens that he works so hard, he stays relevant. Okay. And that's very hard to do, especially in this day and age. So I found nothing that he said on that panel there, for business owners and entrepreneurs. I found nothing that he said to be wild and crazy. You didn't hear it? You said you didn't hear it? Oh man, hold on. Give me 1 second. It's going to do a Monday special. I'll play it again. Hold on, you guys. All right. And then let me know if you can hear it or not. All right.
As we look at what's going on in the current political climate, I'm just saying I want to turn everybody off. I hate politics. Like, despise them. It's a magic trick that is.
Can you hear now?
It's not real. I don't believe in either side. So I think when you pick a side, you are only, you are inadvertently supporting division. Yeah, it's not a popular point of view, but I just got to say, like, think about it. The wells are drying up, and then, okay, now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there Black people here tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're Black or because you're the best? Do you want someone to support your startup because you're Black or because you're the best? Right, so I think now for me, it's about us having the best ambition. That's the reason why you should support these businesses. Yes, they happen to be Black and brown, but it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color. That's a point of view that I have now that I'm resting on. And if diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I'm going to focus on being the best because I can bank on that, because that's what's going to get you the position.
And he's absolutely right. Like I said, he wants to bank on himself, right? So he's talking to entrepreneurs and people who, essentially have businesses, and I'm just sitting here like, how can someone get upset, right? How could anyone get upset? Well, as you know, like I said, the roly-poly, that is Roland Martin, he definitely was upset, okay? He was upset that Pharrell Williams said, hey, I'm not really into politics like that. I don't really want to choose a side. However, I'm not into diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. Which makes sense. However, Roland and gang always find something wrong with something. So I want you guys to get into what Roland Martin had to say. Here we go.
For real. Why politics matters. Go to my iPad.
Go to my iPad.
Pharrell Williams calls for investigation after cousin shot dead by police. This is a BBC story.
Not the BBC.
This is a BBC story talking about the shooting of his cousin. Now, when you go into this story, it said a criminal investigation was ongoing. This is what the story says.
Okay, tell us what the story says.
But Pharrell says there are too many unanswered city and state questions, so it's calling for an investigation at a higher federal level.
Okay.
This one is symbolic and a first because I had to speak at my cousin's funeral and was choked up with emotions, Pharrell said on social media, alongside a shot of the funeral program.
Okay.
And it goes on. Pharrell has previously called for transparency, honesty, and justice from authorities.
Okay.
He talked about how the officers involved in the shooting of his cousin weren't wearing their body cameras.
Okay.
but it was the folks who actually, through politics, fought for the city to spend $5.5 million on body cameras. So
Okay.
Pharrell, let me explain to you why politics, who you vote for, matters.
Oh, do tell us.
This is from 2022 when you called for this investigation. So you called for a federal investigation. Pharrell, in 2022, your cousin was shot in 2021. In 2022, Pharrell, who was president?
Oh my God.
Biden.
Bald-headed reasoning.
Who headed the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice?
I don't know.
Kristen Clark.
Boule.
Guess what?
What?
There were more federal investigations of police action since Robert F. Kennedy was Attorney General. Now, Marilyn Garland was trash.
We know that.
But Kristen Clark did her job.
Right.
Guess what, Pharrell? Donald Trump ain't investigating cops. If your cousin was killed right now, there would be no federal investigation.
He's absolutely out of line. I would take all of that head, neck, and shoulders that Roland Martin has right up off of him. Okay? If that was me, if I was Pharrell, that is exactly what I would do, because he's definitely out of line, out of order. Absolutely not. I would not stand for it, because how can you actually go ahead and say that if your cousin, talking to Pharrell, if your cousin was to die today, Donald Trump is not investigating anything? Are you out of your mind? Donald Trump is the only one in Chicago investigating anything black. Okay. Mayor Mohawk isn't doing it. All right. Roland and the crew isn't doing it. We know the NAACP and the rest of the boule isn't doing it because they're too busy down there in North Carolina. Okay. Helping the illegals. So who? He's absolutely out of his mind, and he was out of pocket when he said that. Okay. You can say, oh, I don't, I don't think that, this was a good shoot, or I want an investigation. And you can say, I'm not a DEI hire. I'm not a DEI anything. I worked hard and I am the best. That's why I got picked. One doesn't have anything to do with the other. Roland and crew just always want somebody to stay on race, somebody to be a victim. Okay. Meanwhile, he doesn't have to be a victim. Meanwhile, he lives in a nice condo in DC where he loads suspect things on that iPad. Okay. I don't know why he still uses the iPad for his show, but that's his production. However, he has all of that. Okay. So he's not worried about it. All right. So to sit here and say what he said to Pharrell was absolutely insane. But I just wanted to show you the backlash you get even when you're not political. Okay. Even when you're not political and you state that, they still come after you. Roland Martin and crew still finds a way to put you on their docket, okay? Still finds a way to talk about you in some form or fashion, even when you are correct, which tells you they have an agenda, okay? Roland and his digital squad always has a race baiting agenda. So you guys get down in the comment and let me know in comments and let me know what you think about Roland and that nonsense, okay? And what's up to everybody who just came in the chat section? I see you guys. Hey, loves. All right. So let's go ahead and move on, because Roland got me started already. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to this next story really quick. I want to get into this story because it was absolutely sad. Okay. And the reason why I say this story right here was absolutely sad, and just absolutely atrocious, is because this story involves children. And I do mean like children. And when I say that, I mean 10, 12, young children. All right. Who are just, going down that life of, I'm just going to do what I want. Going down that life of, I can, beat people up. I can bother people. My parents aren't around. I mean, just absolutely insane. I want to get into these Chicago's attacks. Okay. This Chicago attack of a pregnant mother. Okay. She's a Black woman, but a pregnant mother nevertheless. And she had her children with her, and a group of young teen, adolescent, maybe some preteens, because some of them were very young. I want to get into this because this was absolutely insane. Okay. I want to get into this because I find it just so heartbreaking that this woman had to deal with this. Here we go.
Frustration outside of Orville T. Bright Elementary School as parents rallied around Prashanda Hatter and her 9-year-old son.
I can't sleep because I wake up in the middle of the night with that vision in my head of my son calling my name to help him, and I couldn't do nothing for him. That really hurted me the most.
The 33-year-old reported to police she was walking with her son when they were attacked by a group of kids. It happened near 106 and Bensley Avenue around 3 p.m. Monday, just blocks away from school.
No mother should be that helpless and be targeted by children inside of our own community.
State Senator Willie Preston met with the victim and her son as they called for a meeting with school administrators. The victim told NBC5 the incident stems from bullying at school. Meanwhile, Chicago police launched an investigation. Parents and other concerned residents demand answers. They say this points to a deep-rooted problem in the community.
We need more help out here. Trump sending troops and stuff out here for that. Come send troops out here for these kids. We need these kids to open up more programs for our kids.
Police say Hatter and her son were taken to the hospital to be treated. Those who came out to support the family calling out the parents of the kids involved.
What action needs to be taken is the parents need to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Charges should be pressed. Charges should be pressed, and these kids should be expelled from school.
Chicago Public Schools said it prioritizes the safety and well-being of students. The district in a statement said in part, quote, "We are horrified by the attack on this family, and we are working collaboratively with city departments and agencies to provide support to the victims of the attack. CPS is coordinating closely with the mayor's office, CPD, CHA, and other city departments to provide additional support to the family." As for the case, Area 2 detectives are still investigating. So far, no one has been arrested.
Absolutely. Yeah. Had this been, a group of illegals, Mayor Mohawk would have been all over this. Mayor Mohawk would have got out there and would have talked about slavery and everything else and would have said this is an injustice, and Martin Luther King and all the other, Black leaders that he could think about at the time, because, he used to be a teacher. So, he has all that stuff memorized. And he would have been out here talking about all of this. However, this is a Black mother, so he doesn't care. All right. He does not care. He says all this stuff he does for Black youth. Where is it? The property taxes in Chicago got raised at 100%. Where's the money going? To keep his Mohawk fresh? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. The money is going where it usually goes with the Democrats. I don't know. Nobody knows. Okay. Anytime Democrats receive money, it's as good as gone. Okay. If you gave $5, okay, it doesn't circulate not once anywhere. It's gone. All right. It's halfway across Africa somewhere. All right. Who knows? But it's not going to the youth. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to the youth. And Chicago has some of, just like, DC and other places, but Chicago has some of the worst crime. The worst crime. And this is a pregnant mother and her 9-year-old child. I can't show the video because, of course, YouTube will shut me down. But you got all this money, property taxes sky high, 100%. I've never seen that. Raise my taxes 100% and see if I don't move the next day. Okay. I will be, if you got a 9-to-5, y'all better start remote working, because this right here is absolutely insane. 100% raising taxes. But again, if this had been an illegal, they would have done something. But they're not going to, because Mayor Brandon Johnson has chosen a side, and it has nothing to do with Black, white, or anybody else other than illegals. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about this story, because I just thought it was absolutely heartbreaking that a young mother who was pregnant had to fend for her life against children. Okay. And speaking of those ratchet children, because I don't care that they're children, their mamas is ratchet and everybody that raised them is ratchet. Okay. Because absolutely not will you be doing this. However, the mamas decided that they will get up on the internet and, talk their talk. And they put their kids up there as well. This is one of the little girls who are in the video beating this woman. Okay, she's beating this woman, and now she's crying as her mother is talking to her on the internet. I don't know why, and saying, "You guys be nice to her because you got to remember she's a child. You cannot make this stuff up."
I gotta go through so much. I wish I would never did what I did.
Do you have anything to say? I think her name is Shauna.
I was a bit. People think.
Come on, little girl. That's what my grandmother would say. Come on, little girl.
Somebody on my.
Where's her daddy? Where is her daddy? She need a belt.
I'm a different person than that.
You need a what? You a louder than that.
I think everybody, we've all seen the video. Everybody's been sharing it. The public outcry is definitely there. And we're all on the same accord that we want. I think more so than anything, we want everybody to understand that this is a child. All of them children that was in that video was children. Some of them, not all of them, may have families, but this baby here, she has a family that cares, that loves her, that has held her accountable. She understands what is going on, and I don't expect her to speak. We do not expect her to speak.
Then why you have her on the internet? Absolutely not. These women are out of control. Where are the daddies? She needs a belt, a switch. Some of y'all parents had the extension cord. She needs something. She needs hand to butt. Because what I'm telling you right now is if you don't correct this behavior right now, like one, she could have hurt that woman. All right. I'm pretty sure the woman is hurt because she got kicked, she got punched, she got slapped. But what if you did something to her child in her womb? Okay. This is something that has to be corrected. All right. Every day for the rest of the year, she would be doing community service. I don't care how tired you are, you shoveling snow, you out there. I don't care what she's doing. Okay. Chain gang. I don't care. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. These kids get to do all this stuff and then cry, tattoo tears. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You decided to do what you do. You are going to be punished for it. Do I have some, empathy because she's a child? Yes. Okay. Children follow other children because there were a lot of children in this video. However, you did it. You were one of the main ones. Absolutely not. You will be punished all the way. If it was up to me, all the way till you were 18. Every year you got different community service every day, all day. Every day, all day, until it's ingrained in you how to treat others. And if I catch you slacking, you're going to go to juvie. This is why they wouldn't vote for me for governor, for president, for city council. Because I will be getting in these children. Because it's absolutely insane how they let these children just do what they want. Okay. Now, that mother, even though I think something's lacking, she seems like she kind of got some sense. This one right here. Okay. You guys, you have to see this one here and how she got on the internet about her kid.
You know the whole city of Chicago looking for you, right? You and your little friends. Because you was grown yesterday. You were grown. And you was going to jump somebody. So now they looking for you. You know that, right? You know I'm not helping you, right? You know the whole city of Chicago looking for you, right? You and your little friends. Because you was grown yesterday. You were grown. And you was going to jump somebody. So now they looking for you. You know that, right? You know I'm not helping you, right?
You ain't been helping him. You have not been helping this child. It's clear. Like look how he looks at the door. Like, ma'am, he's looking at you like, ma'am, you don't do nothing anyway. You sit in this house all day. You are the definition of the stereotypes that they talk about. Look at her. Look at her. She doesn't go anywhere. She doesn't go anywhere. Absolutely not. The boy like, girl, please, you don't do anything. You don't do anything. You don't do absolutely nothing. That's why I'm outside in the first place. I have nothing to do. I have no after school curriculums. I have nothing to keep me stimulated. Hopefully there's a dad, but we understand how this goes, right? And so you have nobody correcting these children. Absolutely not. The mom is for the streets, more than likely, and that boy is being raised by the streets. Unfortunately for him, because he looks very young. Most of these children in this video were very young. And it's absolutely insane and it's absolutely sad. But you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about all of this, because I just think it's absolutely heartbreaking. Because on one hand, I feel for the children because, you know, it's not their fault, kind of. And then on the other hand, they're bad. Okay. They're bad. I feel like I have a Jasmine Crockett moment. I almost cussed. Because these children are out of control. The YNs here in DC are out of control. All right. And they're out of control in Chicago and everywhere else. Like, get y'all kids. Get your kids. Do something with your children. I don't understand. Where are the parents? Hell, where are just one parent? Because it seems like these children are raising themselves. You can't make it up. Yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments and in the chat. You guys get active. All right, let's move on to the last story and shots here before we get on to our main stories and before I read the super chats. As sad as that was, like, that's absolutely sad, you know, that mom had to deal with that. But let's move on to what always makes me happy is hearing Kamala have to talk. Okay, we haven't talked about Kamala in a while. Okay, we haven't talked about greens in the tub in a while. We haven't talked about Miss Curry in a while. All right, and that's because she's been off the scene up until this book. She's just like, you know, she was when she was in office. Unseen, unheard of, you know, she pops up when she got something going on. And that would be this 107-day book. She decided that she would go out to TSU, Fisk University, you know, do her little run, I guess trying to sell her books to the HBCUs. Yeah, I just watched Kamala for the laugh. But I want you guys to see how, you know, it goes to show how someone like me did not vote for Kamala. Okay, that woman is incompetent, and you know, I'm okay with your favorite one-liners. You know, you got to joke about something, cool. However, I'm glad we're already unburdened, all right, by what has been, and Kamala refuses to let anyone steal your power. You can't make it up. Here is Kamala Harris.
Don't let anyone ever take your power or your voice from you. You tell people what you want. You don't let anybody tell you who you are. You tell them who you are. And that includes at election time. This election is 14 days from today. Today's Tuesday. It's 2 weeks from now. And you know, I've been in elected office long enough to know that when people start deciding who am I going to listen to, and I'm going to speak truth right here. This is real talk. They're going to look at two groups of people. Who's writing the checks and who's voting.
That's what she look at.
So let's make sure that they understand we vote. And they need to come here. And they need to listen. And they need to interact. And they need to understand. And one of the ways that you demand that is you show, because you know what? I vote. And if you don't respond to my needs, I'm not voting for you. With the leadership.
No, she didn't. Now, I like the end. If you don't respond to my needs, I'm not voting for you. Ma'am, you got highly upset when the Black community said that they were not voting for you because you didn't have an agenda for Black people. And you said, I'm not going to do anything for Black people, just for Black people. No. Okay. And then when they responded to that, you ran and you spent 60 days to come up with a bullet point on your website. Ma'am, the 107 days was 105 of them of you still being in the basement, because I absolutely do not know what your campaign was about. I absolutely do not remember anything about your campaign except for Megan Thee Stallion and when Beyonce came on and she said, run, spot, run. And that was it. Okay, but it didn't stop there, because it seems like Kamala had something to drink. So, she decided to ease on down the road. Let's go ahead and listen to her here.
When I think about the history and the role of this university and your path for the future based on the legacy of where you are right now, I know the future of our country and this world is great, because you all are so bright, so ambitious. You have passion, you have intelligence, and everything about being here should be telling you and absorbing that you are special. We expect a lot from you. We know your excellence. We know that you will go in the world with your chin up, shoulders back, knowing you will make a difference. And so I wanted to come and visit and come back to visit. Just remind you of that. There's so much going on in the country and the world right now. And I want you to know that I expect and we expect your leadership. We expect you to leapfrog over everything that is and carry us into the future with all that you know to be possible, all that you know can be, unburdened, as you know I say, by what has been, but seeing what can be. So continue in your studies. Know your brains are just like sponges of...
Girl, we don't want to hear it. Absolutely not. So that was Kamala at TSU and Fisk University. Oh, Kamala, I can't take it. She just does the most and says absolutely nothing. What did she say? What did she say? I wouldn't mind the, unburdened by what has been if it came with something. It doesn't come with anything. And if you actually know the quote, it's a communist quote, okay? The woman and her daddy is a communist, okay? Kamala and her parents are both communists, or were. All right? So I don't understand what she's doing. Again, she must have had that Bud Light, okay? That good old Bud Light. That's how I definitely knew she wasn't Black when I heard Bud Light, okay? As a mixed race person, I've never seen the Black or the Hispanic side of my family choose a Bud Light. And that's a fact. All right, I already knew it. And when she said greens in the tub, I said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Okay, no, ma'am. Like, just tell us, okay? You can be Miss Curry and they'll still vote for you. All right? Just say it. All right? It's okay. These politicians have to tell the truth. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about the shot stories, what you think about PHARRELL and the politics, what you think about Kamala possibly being, or allegedly being tipsy over at TSU and Fisk and, anywhere else she likes to go. And let me know what you think about the Chicago attack on the mother and the children, because I just think it's absolutely awful. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know. All right. Now, let me go ahead really quickly here and read the super chats. And I also want to thank Mike That Dude on Cash App. Thank you so much for supporting the platform. I appreciate you. Thank you. We have MC Recovery and Relapse. $2 super chat. Thank you so much. He he be really caping it up for the Dems, not community. Of course, okay? Of course. He knows where his bread is buttered. All right? He need all of his money because Roland cannot miss a meal. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate the super chat. And then we have MC Recovery and Relapse, $2 super chat. Thank you. And it says KAMALA, okay, talks at folks on individualizing fear. Yeah, KAMALA is just she's an awful candidate. She's even an awful person to bring to inspire you. Like she would be talking, I would be asleep. If she wasn't the VP, I wouldn't pay attention. Like that's the mom you don't bring to, career day. I don't care what kind of job she has. You don't bring her. But thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these main topics. You guys know I had to bring up this story, so let's go ahead and get into it. It is none other than Miss Nicki Minaj, okay? Or Onika, for when she's not in I say character. I say Onika because it's more fitting. So if you don't know, Nicki Minaj yesterday was at the UN, all right? And she spoke at the UN, and she is the first female rapper to do so, all right? And she spoke at something that she's been speaking about on social media now for a while, which is the Nigerian genocide, all right? Now, most of the left says they care about genocide, but they don't talk about the Nigerian genocide, okay? The white liberals have not talked about this at all. Haven't heard it. They're too busy with Jeffrey Epstein. However, Nicki Minaj felt compelled to talk about it, and she was chosen to speak at the UN about it. However, Nicki Minaj has received backlash because, of course, anybody who is in entertainment, okay, if you're in entertainment, have ever been in entertainment, or you are a person of color, you cannot like Donald Trump. You cannot like a policy from Donald Trump. You can't vote for Donald Trump. You can't do anything with Donald Trump other than call him a Yahtzee or a racist. All right. That's all you can do. And talk crap about him like Roger Crockett. That's all you can do. So I want to go ahead and get into some of this because I just thought, with everything that was going on, that this was just absolutely, it was absolutely insane that people would be this upset. So let's go ahead and get into Nicki Minaj, and we are going to start with the news story on this. All right, here we go.
Nicki Minaj's decision to side with the Trump administration has some members of her fan base choosing sides as well. The rapper facing backlash online.
For a lot of Barbs, they're saying that this is their last straw.
Some, like former Nicki Minaj fan Monique Sampson, say Tuesday's stance missed the mark.
She has been silent on multiple injustices that are happening under this current administration.
Oh my God, true Barb from day one.
While many others say speaking out in favor of the safety of others has no political alignment.
This is how you use your power. This is how you use your influence.
Minaj, recognizing the criticism Tuesday, responded to her fan base with this.
This isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice.
Alan Devlin, CBS News, New York. Nicki Minaj's decision to side with the Trump administration has some members.
All right. So essentially, Nicki Minaj basically said, look, this is the president, and this president actually stood up for what was right. And so I'm going to stand with this president. And I think the president is doing the right thing. And as you should, because like I said, had, Sleepy Joe and KAMALA did anything remotely good during their tenure, I would have said, at least that was something that I can agree with. That was, something that I can get on board with. They did absolutely none of that. But I can have duality and say if something is positive, okay? I don't have KAMALA derangement, all right? I just think KAMALA is ridiculous. But Nicki Minaj, pressed on. So I want to go ahead and just get into a little bit of her speech, and then we'll come back.
In way too many places. In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but also in so many other countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. And I want to be clear, protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity. Nigeria is a beautiful nation with deep faith traditions and lots of beautiful barbs that I can't wait to see. When one's church, mosque, or place of worship is destroyed, everyone's heart should break just a little bit. And the foundation of the United Nations, with its core mandate to ensure peace and security, should shake. I am joined here today by peace builders, by faith leaders, by those who saw violence, saw rising intolerance, saw the threats clearly before us, and chose not to look the other way.
And her speech, of course, was longer than that, but I just wanted to play that because regardless of political views or your political sides, it's absolutely insane what's going on in certain places of the world. And if you can make a difference, why not make a difference? Nicki Minaj is arguably the biggest female rapper and one of the biggest female artists of all time. So if she can speak up on an issue that we have spoken about on this program, okay, we've spoken about it here on the Red Cup, and you had people over there screaming for help, okay? Nicki Minaj has a voice that goes everywhere. So why not? I don't understand the problem. People are just so stupid. All right. You say, hey, these rappers don't do this, don't do that. Nicki Minaj does exactly what she says. She said that she was going to pay for Barbs to go to school, Barbs that couldn't afford it. If they can send, good report cards from high school, she did exactly that. Okay, she took her hard-earned money and she did exactly that. So I'm just thrown back of why people find genocide an issue. You don't find, twerking and giving, letting Megan Thee Stallion do whatever. But you find Nicki Minaj standing up for genocide a problem. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. So now, I want to get into just a little bit of the pushback, okay? And the pushback comes from none other than another race hustler, Tamika Mallory, okay? I can't stand Tamika Mallory. Tamika Mallory gets on my last nerve, okay? She talks all of this stuff, and I just wish she just minds her own business, Jenny Craigett, do something other than talk about everybody else. However, here is Tamika Mallory talking about Nicki Minaj. Here we go.
So you guys know that over the last few years, I've really tried to be intentional about what I say in public about Black folks. I try to be really careful, but some things require a public statement. Mm-hmm. And as I've been watching this situation unfold with Nicki Minaj and Trump and Nigeria, I thought it was important for me to say a few things. There are consequences to aligning yourself with Donald Trump and his policies and his evil ways.
What consequences? What consequences got for Nicki Minaj?
What we know is that as he turns his attention to Nigeria, understanding his history, there will absolutely be exploitation, theft of resources. Somebody that he knows wants something from Nigeria. It could be a business partner. It could be a friend. It could be a said corporation. It could even be his family members. But they will invade Nigeria and exploit the people for their own benefit.
Exploited already further than the Chinese are doing. They've been doing that, stealing resources, or Great Britain, places like that. Like, ma'am, what are you talking about? And then you say they're only going over there to help when Trump has actually helped about 8 wars already. However, he's only going over there to exploit something or get something. Well, what did Barack Obama get when he invaded? When Hillary said, we came, we saw, they did. Yeah. What did they get? Okay. Or how about when Barack Obama continued the plan that George Bush did? He conspired along with Dick Cheney and Halliburton and all the rest of them to, get all the oil in the Middle East and, invade Syria and Yemen and all that other stuff. Right. On the guys that they were trying to get democracy to, these Arab nations. What in the world is Tamika Mallory talking about? I really don't think that woman knows politics at all. I really don't. Because if she did, she would understand what has been going on. All right. Donald Trump has put himself in the middle of plenty of these conflicts that he doesn't have to. Okay. Me personally, I think he ought to just stay America first. However, I don't have a problem because I have a heart. However, this woman here, okay, this woman here talks about somebody going to steal something. Somebody needs to steal the burger from her, okay? She needs to put the burger down because, ma'am, at this point, it's clouding your judgment. It's clouding your judgment because Donald Trump has inserted himself in wars that do not help us. Rwanda, it doesn't help us. What do we get from Rwanda? Absolutely nothing. Okay? The Congo, what are we getting? So, Tamika Mallory, shut up. This is absolutely stupid. All right. And it couldn't get any stupider, but it does because, the Nigerian Wada gets on the morning news station and talks about, well, I don't know, while Nicki Minaj is up there, we should have, African artists up there. Well, why didn't you send them? Okay. You could have sent anybody, WizKid. You could have sent what's those Tyler, any of them African artists, Burna Boy, somebody, okay, Matumbo, somebody, okay, but you didn't. So Nicki Minaj spoke on your behalf, but this is why a lot of people just stay America first because when you try to help, everybody is a critic. Here is some people on a morning show in Nigeria.
Where there is religious freedom. My repost was that, look, Nicki Minaj is a rapper, right, from Trinidad, Port of Spain, that she should just concentrate on Anaconda rap music and what's that fans called? Babs. This is not, as far as I'm concerned, she's chasing clout, even if she has been invited to this forum by White House advisor and also by Michael Walls. The thing is 1 o'clock, you said, Eastern GMT. Well, I think what we should do, since now the Americans are adding, influencers and all of that, we also have influencers here. You do? If I were to advise on strategy, by that time when Nicki Minaj is speaking, we should put Tiwa Savage on national.
They don't know T1 Savage. They don't know him. Okay. They don't want him. They did not ask him. So with that being said, to go on Nicki Minaj, not because you don't, like her music, not because of anything disparaging she said about the African people, to go on Nicki Minaj for the sheer fact that she actually cared enough about your country and your people and say, well, our artists should have did it. Your artists haven't been talking about it because they do not care. They're trying to get up out of there. It's absolutely insane. It's wild. Oh, she should stick to the anaconda. And okay, and guess what? Every last one of those African artists always try to work with Nicki Minaj. It's absolutely insane. And then let's talk about it. Okay, America is where it's at. Okay, you guys are over there doing R&B, rap music, all of that. It's just like you want to have a cohesive nation with people around the world, but you get, I was about to say something. You get people like this, okay? You get people like this that just create division when you should actually be thinking this person that they actually cared enough about what's going on in your country. Okay, Donald Trump, the ambassador to the American UN, and like anybody on this side of the world, because we don't have to care. A lot of people spent their time talking about this Nigerian genocide. And I'm sure there are people in Nigeria that are appreciative. But when you got stupid people like this on in the morning talking for you, it hurts the whole entire thing. It's absolutely insane. Ungrateful. That's all I got to say about that. But you guys, let me know what you think about all of that, because I just thought that was insane. Okay. With Tamika Mallory just running her mouth for no apparent reason. Like she didn't even have a reason. Oh, this is going to have complications, because you're dealing with Donald Trump. He's the president. What do you mean complications? Who else am I supposed to talk to? He is the leader. He's international. So if I want to do something international, I need to go speak to the man, right? The man is Donald Trump. Okay. Whether you like him or not. Okay. Whether you respect Donald Jaquavius Trump or you call him the Cheeto man, he is your leader. Okay. And preferably the leader of the entire free world and Western world, really. So again, I don't understand the outrage of things that are positive, because I thought all of this was very positive. Nicki Minaj hasn't said anything disparaging about Africa or the country Nigeria. So I just don't understand the backlash. And I really don't understand Tamika Mallory, because if anybody's chasing clout, it would be her. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about all of that. Did Nicki Minaj really deserve the backlash? Did she deserve, those comments from the Nigerian morning show there? Okay, did she deserve those comments? And then let me know also what you thought about her being invited in the first place and what you thought about her speech. All right, let me know down in the comments and in the chat. Get active. All right. Thank you guys so much. All right. So we are okay. We got good timing. We got 54 minutes in. Thank goodness. All right. So let's go ahead and get into our next topic. Let's go ahead and get into this, because this is absolutely insane. So if you guys haven't heard, Operation Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web is, a children's story if you've never heard of it. But Operation Charlotte's Web is in North Carolina. All right, Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's in reference to, of course, ICE. All right, and the operations that they're having down there in North Carolina. Now, you guys, you already know how I feel about illegals, all right? And I am pretty sure with the crowd that I have watching me, I have some liberals, but even they are on the, moderate side. And they'll even say that, just letting people over here is absolutely insane. What KAMALA did and what Sleepy Joe did, or the auto pen, what they did with the border is just absolutely insane, all right? She never went to the border. She was the border czar, but she said she had been to the border, but then they said she didn't go to the border and she hadn't been to Europe either. Okay. That woman didn't do anything absolutely nothing while she was in office. But she did do one thing, and that is cape for illegals. Okay. Her and Joe Biden. That's something that they did do. All right. And they allow illegals to pretty much take over in these sanctuary cities. They allow the illegals to, get housing, take federal funds. I mean, they were going to school. They were having a good old time. If you didn't stack up in 4 years as an illegal immigrant, I don't know what you were doing. You were sleeping at the wheel. All right. Because you absolutely knew that ride was going to be over in 4 years. If you didn't get your papers, I don't know what you were doing. If you didn't stack your money, I don't know what you were doing. Okay. But that seems to be the case. And Donald Trump is getting them up out of here. All right. ICE is in all of these sanctuary cities. So I want to go ahead and get right into what's going on down in Charlotte. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about with as it pertains to ICE and the crisis down here in Charlotte is the school. So a lot of the illegal immigrant children, their parents are afraid to take them to school. Thus, Charlotte, North Carolina has seen 30,000 plus kids absent from school since Operation Charlotte's Web. It's unbelievable. I want you guys to go ahead and see this. Here we go.
We are learning new details about how the presence of Border Patrol in the Queen City is impacting learning at the area's largest school district. For the second day in a row, students at several schools walked out in protest of the Border Patrol deployment here in Charlotte. But an educator now tells us that's not the main reason classrooms are empty. Queen City News anchor Will Lewis spoke with the teacher who says the uptick in absences is a direct result of Operation Charlotte's Web.
David Gillespie says the last 24 hours have been tough.
I don't represent the CMS district nor my school.
But he's seen what 2 days of Customs and Border Patrol agents taking more than 130 people into custody.
I'm just sharing my opinion as a teacher in the Charlotte area.
Does to students.
My homeroom class typically has 16 students in it. We had 4.
District-wide, there are 145,030 students enrolled in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. On Monday, 30,399 were absent, 28,136 unexcused. While CMS doesn't break down the numbers by ethnic origin, Gillespie, a multilingual teacher, did.
Children of parents from Angola, from Vietnam, but the students whose parents come from Latin American countries were the students we were missing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the line, even among the ML students, is that we were missing Hispanic students.
David says news of the operation reached his students well before they entered the classroom on Monday. He says those who have come back are still scared, and he's unsure if or when the other students will return.
They should be able to come there and get their education. They should be able to come there and spend time with their friends, socialize. They should feel secure.
Gillespie says these days were not in his lesson plan, but it's a lesson everyone should learn.
ICE is never going to come to the school. Border Patrol is not going to come to the school. And I think what was chilling about yesterday is that it was demonstrated that they don't have to come to the school to affect the school. They don't have to step foot on the property to impact students.
In East Charlotte, Will Lewis, Queen City News.
Absolutely not. Because here's the thing. These children are getting free lunch. These children are getting federal assistance. Why would we continue to do this? This makes absolutely no sense. Why would we continue to do this? Why would we continue to give out federal dollars to people who aren't supposed to be here? And they keep saying, well, you need to have compassion and all of this. Yeah, I have compassion for people that come from, war-torn places or, need help in certain capacities. Most of these people are not fleeing war-torn countries and things like that. They just came over the border because they could. And it's cool, but the rules have changed, okay? You came when it was a free fall, and now the rules have changed. What is the problem? You need to follow the law. I don't understand. You have to follow the law. We have to follow the law here as Americans. Why can't they follow the law? Why do we have to make special, special alliances for them? They have to be allowed to do this and that. Why? You broke the law. They never do that for us. I absolutely despise that notion that somebody who is American could never get away with any of this. You don't have compassion for Americans, okay? You don't have compassion for Americans, but you have compassion for illegals. Okay. So that was the story on the schools, okay, the districts. And we all know that schools get, again, federal funds. You get paid per pupil being in school. So having, a 60,000, having a 60,000 pupil drop in a day is absolutely insane. All right. So you guys, let me know what you think about that. Now, moving on, as I said, there are people helping the illegals, stay afloat. And they're helping them evade ICE as well. So much so, they're down there in Charlotte having whole meetings on how to do it. This gentleman here, who's with MSNBC or MS Now, BS Now, he is absolutely at one of these meetings. Watch.
And then we'll have a single chat during your shift, and we're asking you to please post the details.
This is not a church service. This is a training being run by Siembra, North Carolina. It's called Safe to Work, Safe to School. All those people are here because they do not want Donald Trump's masked arms of federal agents on the streets of Charlotte. They watched what happened in LA. They watched what happened in Chicago. And they're all here to be trained about how to get their neighbors and their friends and their coworkers safely to work and safely to school, to push back on the Trump administration and what they are doing. It's a Monday night. We are at the Dilworth United Methodist Church in Charlotte, and the turnout is incredible. I'm going to show you again.
We are working not only about overreaction by border patrol, putting people in immediate risk. We are worried about. We don't want to.
Wow is right. Okay. There's absolutely no reason why all of those people there are either illegal or there to help illegals. It's absolutely insane. Like, this is the training to help evade federal law. I'm pretty sure. And, you guys, I do not support criminals, but I'm pretty sure all of those people that got locked up under Joe Biden, okay, under Sleepy Joe back in the 90s, I'm sure they would have loved this. They would have loved you guys to pack them in, a church and say, look, let me tell you how you're going to avoid the police, okay? How you're going to get all those drugs in, and then you're going to avoid the police, all right? And then we're going to show you where you can sell it, where you can't sell it. And, we got spotters over here, spotters over there. We got you. I'm sure they would have loved that. But here, because they come from another country, oh my God, they must be destitute. They must be running away from something. No, some of them are just freeloaders. Some of them, okay, maybe they do want to come here and create a better life. But however, you came here the wrong way, because there are others that come from the same countries that paid all that money to do it the right way. So I don't have any sympathy for that either. Because to get here, most of you paid a coyote. So you could have paid to come in here legally. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. But that's what's going on there, right? And so as we get further and further into this nonsense, of course, we have none other than the Trump derangement and bald-headed reasoning show that is Abby Phillips and the Nightly Crew. All right. I want you guys to see what they had to say about this whole entire thing with Charlotte. Here we go.
There have been many examples of that. They are also being picked up indiscriminately, having their car windows shattered by immigration officials. Why? because they look
according
like
to
they
the
are
immigration
illegal?
officials, he did not listen to their instructions and he was released an hour later. So, I mean.
So, but why, what is, he was
You're
showing them,
supposed to listen
he
to
said,
law
according to
enforcement.
him, was showing them his real ID, which is generally an indication.
I mean, we'll see.
Oh,
You have to have
so a
legal
real
status
ID
to have
doesn't
a real
matter.
ID.
You have to have
Illegal immigrants get IDs in this country all the time.
real
not a
ID.
real
right.
Oh, hold on,
Not a real
Scott.
ID.
No, Scott. Real IDs, you cannot get a real ID unless you have documentation of
Lies.
How do they know
legal
it was
status.
his?
Lies.
Here's the bottom line.
A
Botch is
real
right.
ID, Scott?
Of course, Botch is right.
So why not just
If the
look at, hold
cops
on,
come to your
but why
car-
not just look at the real ID and determine whether or not it actually belongs to him, as opposed to shattering his window and arresting him? It's a simple question.
want to get out.
If I were driving down the road and got pulled over and the
Yeah.
police came up to my window and gave me instructions and I didn't follow it, what would happen to me?
Yeah, but hold on.
Smashing in my window. That's what would happen
First of
to me.
all,
Follow the laws.
I think that we also just need to acknowledge that there are different versions of what happened here in terms of what DHS is saying versus what the individual is saying. So I think that there's that. But secondly, if you were stopped and a cop stopped you and was like, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" and you showed them the ID that you had on you, which is your real ID, your driver's license, and they were like, "That doesn't." They were like, "That doesn't matter. We're gonna arrest you and we're gonna figure it out later." What would you say?
If I failed to roll down my window, if I didn't listen to the instructions of law enforcement, I'd have whatever was coming at me, because that's stupid. Just say, yes, I'll roll down my window. Let me show you my ID. Failure to follow simple instructions gets people in trouble all the time. Now, Charlotte, by the way, human trafficking hub, major MS-13 problem, huge murder rate issue, and the governor right now won't turn 1,400 illegals over to the Fed, and he should be doing
crime. Just to note, crime
crime's
is
down 20%.
24%.
They have a huge uptown Charlotte major
homicides are down 24%.
Charlotte.
Aggravated assaults down 19%. Robberies down 22%.
Uptown Charlotte. There you go.
I don't think that this is a crime-related issue.
So every time you say something about crime or anything related to that, when it comes to illegal immigrants, oh no, crime is down here. It's not up. Okay, that's not what the stats say, and so we're gonna find out the results here. All right, we're gonna find out what's actually been going on. Here we go.
That number is probably closer to a little over 200 folks that have been arrested at this point. And to the point that was made earlier, many of them have gotten these criminal backgrounds that are being recognized. And so I'm very thankful. I hope one of the results is going to be that the city of Charlotte is going to be safer because these criminal illegal aliens are being taken off the streets. And so it is warranted, because again, we've got a serious issue going on in Charlotte. Not only have we seen crime issues that have taken place, but I think that I saw a report I guess it was yesterday morning, that Charlotte is one of the top cities in the nation in human trafficking. Yes. And I think that's a great concern. And so, you know, when Border Patrol decides where they're going in, they have their own intelligence that they have been able to muster. They have their own information, and they choose these areas because there are suspects that they are looking for, and they have information that would lead them there. So I'm confident that they're there. They're getting the job done, and I'm very grateful.
So didn't Scott Jennings just say that Charlotte had a MS-13 and human trafficking problem that Abby Phillips, who kept saying Scott, said was incorrect? You can't argue with stupid. And Abby Phillips and gang and Anna and the rest of those people there are stupid, except for Scott. However, last but not least, I want to get into what Abby says can't happen. If you got a real ID, you are indeed a citizen. Well, I want you to watch this story, because this person has a real ID, voted many times, and is the mayor of a whole city here in the United States as an illegal. Watch.
Good afternoon. We are tracking breaking news at this hour. The mayor of Coldwater accused of election fraud. The charges come hours after he secured a second term in office. Attorney General Chris Kobach charged Mayor Jose Joe Ceballos with 6 felonies, 3 counts each of voting without being qualified and election perjury. Kobach claims Ceballos is lawfully living in the U.S., but is a citizen of Mexico, making him ineligible to vote. The AG alleges The mayor illegally cast ballots in the August 2024 primary and November 2022 and 2023 general elections.
In large part, our system right now is based on trust. Trust that when the person signs the registration or signs the poll books saying that he's a qualified elector or that he is a United States citizen, that the person is telling the truth.
We reached out to Mayor Ceballos for comment, but have not heard back yet. The Coldwater City Council, though, released a statement on social media saying the mayor called them in for a special meeting over the noon hour to, quote, discuss recent events that have transpired with the Kansas Attorney General's office. While the recent allegations involving the mayor are understandably concerning, we will allow the proper legal process to take its course before making any further comments, unquote. Ceballos is expected to be in court for his first appearance on December 3rd.
You guys, as much as they're talking about, you know, the election and, you know, them vote, he's voting, you know, he's voting for, well, he's voting illegally. He's already the mayor and he's a citizen of Mexico. How did that happen, Abby? Abby Phillips, how does that happen? How does that happen when you can't get a real ID unless you have documents? Okay. I have been to the MBA, which is the motor vehicles in Maryland. Okay. I have been to the MBA tons of time and have seen, and they push them right along and even ask if they want to vote. So no, Abby Phillips, they do. They're on voter rolls that they get kicked off of all the time. Okay. And they're even mayors of a whole town. You can't make it up. You guys get down in the comments, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, support the channel and tell me what you think about all of this nonsense going on in North Carolina, okay? With Operation Charlotte's Web, with the schools being pretty much empty because nobody is there, because most of the children there come from illegal mixed status homes. Okay, the children may be illegal or they may be American citizens, you know, but at the end of the day, they're not supposed to be here. The parents anyway. So I don't have a problem with it. All right. Like, go back and come back the right way if you're truly trying to benefit from this country. All right. If you truly want to be a part of the American fabric, do it the right way. Nobody has a problem with immigration, but what they're doing is absolutely wrong because it affects Americans. And this is, again, America first. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about that. Let me go ahead really quick and get these super chats. Thank you so much for supporting the platform, you guys. Let's see. Chavis, thank you. Chavis, thank you. $5 super chat. I appreciate it. Scott should take blood pressure meds before jumping on that show because all that testosterone laced, all those testosterone laced women are nerve wracking. Yes, they are, especially Abby, because she tries to act like it you know, it's, I just, you know, but she's annoying because she knows what Scott is saying is right, and she still has to combat it some way, somehow. Okay. I think the producers are in her ear when Scott talks. Scott don't even get anything out. Scott. But Scott. Absolutely insane. Thank you for the super chat. Taurus Prince 516. Thank you so much. $4.99 super chat. I'm late to the comment on the Nicki Minaj topic. I'm driving and listening. Tamika can't use the word exploit. She absolutely cannot. Okay. Her and those, you know, lesbians that run BLM, child. When she was marching, when she was marching with BLM, to do nefarious things. Exactly. So at the end of the day, exactly. Tamika Mallory. Absolutely not. But you guys, thank you so much for supporting the platform. I appreciate you. Oh, wait a minute. I got one more. Chavis with the $5 super chat. For the last time, I'll call Jasmine Crockett Minaj. Don't you do it. Now Nicki Minaj has spoke at the UN. Do not do that. Do not do that, Chavis. Get a new nickname for her, okay? Call her, I don't know, My Little Pony, because she got a tail, a weave tail that's all the way to the floor now, okay? So do that. You guys, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and move on to, let's see here, because we got 2 left. What's our timing like? Yeah, we got about good 15. Okay. All right. So let's do, let's go ahead and get into this. Let's get into this. Let's do Mark Epstein. So Mark Epstein says that the files are being scrubbed. All right. He says that the files are being scrubbed. I personally think that Mark Epstein and his brother, who is deceased, both had Trump derangement when Jeffrey Epstein thought that Trump called the popos on him. Okay. But I want to go ahead and get into that. So you guys, let's go ahead and get into Mark Epstein and what he had to say about Donald Trump, what he had to say about the Epstein files, because he had an interview with Chris Cuomo and News Nation. And when I tell you, he just, for the life of me, wanted to talk about Jeffrey Epstein as if Jeffrey Epstein was an upstanding gentleman. Okay. That's what he wanted to talk about. However, the conversation was, of course, around the explosive emails about Bill Clinton supposedly being Bubba. All right. It's absolutely insane. This is what we're talking about when we should be talking about other things in this country. Absolutely insane. But let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go.
Is really pushing right now. I got literally, it sent to me a dozen times this weekend. Did you see the emails between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother, Mark? Did you see? It's proof that Epstein was covering and had stuff on Trump as his sex life. All right. Here's Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, joining us right now. Mark, I explained to people that you want to keep it on the phone because you're afraid of what's been done and threatened to you and your family. So I appreciate you sticking your head up to have this conversation.
That's okay. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Mark, just, easy suggestion. This back and forth with Jeffrey, where he tells you that Bannon is with him, and you say, oh, great, ask him if Putin still has photos of Donnie T, I'm assuming President Trump, with blowing, which we all know what that means, Bubba.
Let me stop you here. I'm not discussing that email. This was a private email between Jeffrey and myself. There's 2 brothers talking. It's nobody's business what we wrote. The only thing I responded to is because people got crazy with the Bubba reference and they tried to pin it on Clinton. So I made a public statement that it was not any reference to Bill Clinton. I like Bill Clinton, and I'm sorry for him that he had to go through that. But the email had nothing to do with Clinton, and that's my last word on that email. What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things and the reason for the flip is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source. And my main focus.
Look, do you believe that? Do you believe? Hold on, Mark, hold on a second. 2 things. One, if you don't want to talk about it, all right. I obviously you believe it. You just said it, but all right. But Mark, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question.
Jeffrey did not commit suicide. That's my focus. I don't care about the files. Jeffrey's dead. So I don't care of the implications of the files. That's other people's problems.
I have myself muted. That's the crux of everything right there. Okay. That is everything right there. What he just said, he doesn't care about the files. Okay. He doesn't care about who's implemented. That's other people's problem. Okay. He cares about talking about his brother as if his brother was done wrong and injustice. All right. Whatever happened is what happened. Okay. Because nobody can take back what happened to those girls and those young women. But let's be clear here. You couldn't hear it? Oh, okay. You're talking about me. Okay. Yeah, I have myself on mute. But let's be clear here, okay? Jeffrey Epstein definitely knows where the bodies were hidden with everybody up there on Capitol Hill. And so with that being said, here's the thing about it. Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark Epstein knew what his brother was doing. And Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, let's say that. Donald Trump knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing at the end, and he decided to drop a dime on him, snitch on him, whatever you want to call it. And now they're all upset. Jeffrey Epstein showed it in the emails a lot, which is why he's mentioning Donald Trump every day, all day. This is a guy that's obsessed at taking this man down. Okay. Donald Trump is not a saint, but the things that they are accusing Donald Trump of, he is absolutely not doing. Okay. And that's just that. But I want to go ahead and move forward with that because now you hear that they're scrubbing the files. So that's going to set a stage for the Democrats. You heard there that he liked having Bill Clinton around. I bet he did. Bill Clinton was their best buddy, but their best client. Okay. Virginia Giuffre told us that. All right. And with that being said, I want to get into what Virginia said about Bill Clinton and had continued to say up until last year. This is a report from January 2024. Okay. Who was in office in January 2024? Joe Biden and KAMALA, Democrats. Did you pick up this story? Did you try to help Virginia then? Absolutely not. Okay. I want you guys to see this. Here we go.
New details this morning. Hundreds of new pages have been unsealed in a lawsuit connected to convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The victim alleges that former President Clinton pressured Vanity Fair not to run a story on Epstein. The pages also shed new light on how Epstein's victims were recruited and what happened to them. CNN's Jean Cesaris joins us now. And Jean, we're talking about 900 pages here, so there's a lot to go through. What new details have come out?
Well, they came out last night combing through them. And, this all stems from a 2015 civil suit brought by Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell. And Virginia Giuffre had wanted her story to come out. She wanted a book. And so she became very close with a reporter out of Britain. And this reporter was encouraging her to go to the Vanity Fair magazine to have them do an article on it. And here is what, in a newly undisclosed email from 2011, here's what Virginia Giuffre says. She says, considering that B. Clinton walked into VF, Vanity Fair, and threatened them not to write sex trafficking articles about his good friend, J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, so she didn't want to do it.
So, did you hear the Democrats say anything about this? This was just last year. Okay? You didn't hear one peep. You didn't hear anything. And that's because they do what they've been doing. Just like they did with Hunter Biden's laptop that actually had pedophilia on it, okay? Just like they did with Hillary Clinton's emails, all right? We can't look at those emails that actually had things on it, but we can look at Jeffrey Epstein's emails talking about Bubba, okay? We can look at those. But that wasn't the only report. Here is a reporter that was caught on a hot mic, during her break, talking about just this, all right? The whole Bill Clinton, Vanity Fair, Prince Andrew, and Epstein, and how her company, her media company, essentially buried this story. Here we go.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us in a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on. to no avail. And now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, it was what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. I had it all 3 years ago. I've had this.
Absolutely wow. Absolutely wow. So when Mark Epstein gets up there and I want to talk about my brother was, we don't care. We don't care. I'm going to tell you right now, we don't care, because your brother has done some of the most horrendous things to individuals, to human beings, and especially to the most vulnerable, which are young children. Okay. So absolutely not. We don't care what happened to your brother, really. Okay. Honestly. And that's because he's a despicable human being. You know what your brother did. And you even know who Bill Clinton is in relation to your brother. And you still don't care, which is what he said on Cuomo's show. Okay. He's just being used as another pawn with these Democrats. All right. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know what you think about that, because I thought that was absolutely weird that he wanted to do all of this talking all of a sudden. He wanted to do all of this, I want to talk about my brother Jeffrey. We don't care. We absolutely don't care. But I wanted to get into this right before we get into this last topic, which is, of course, the House Democrats. But I'm going to go ahead and read these super chats really quick so we can move on to our last topic here. And thank you guys again for supporting the platform. I do appreciate it. Let's see here. We got Taurus Prince 516 with the $4.99 super chat. Mark don't want to get sued. That's why he didn't want to talk about the emails. Of course. And on top of that, he's saying that, he was just joking around, which I actually do believe. I actually do just think they hate Donald Trump. So, they were talking about, him blowing somebody and all of this stuff, which is fine with me. It doesn't implement him in anything. And people are like, oh, he's blowing Bill Clinton. Okay, if that was absolutely true, it still doesn't say that he's a pedo. Two nasty old men want to do something. I don't care. It's not my business. I don't care. So that's how I feel about it. Thank you, Taurus Prince. And then thank you to my girl Molly. Hey, Molly, with the 1999 super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you, love. All right. And then I have Mr. Hunter 5150 with the 99 super chat. I'm sorry, super sticker, the 99-cent super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I do. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. I appreciate everybody that supports the platform. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it before we get up out of here. Let's go ahead and get into these Dems. They're under fire. They thought by releasing these files, they were going to, save the world, save humanity, save themselves. They've only made things worse. I honestly, and this is my true and honest opinion, okay? I think that Donald Trump just played chess with them. I think Donald Trump said, I'm going to sit on this and let the Dems push for it. Okay, because if he releases it, it looks kind of petty. You're just trying to get revenge and all this other stuff. Okay, cool. And these are just my thoughts. So he lets the Dems go hard at it. He lets the rhinos on the Republican side go hard at it, right? Absolutely. Yes, let's get these files out. And then they leak their own info. They leak their own mishaps. They leak their own misfortunes. They leak everything that happens to be against Democrats. You can't make it up. So if you guys haven't heard, okay, the Democrats, yes, released the, had a Epstein file dump of 20,000 different Epstein files. However, okay, what a lot of them didn't want to tell you is that a lot of them were in these Epstein files. All right. And in these Epstein files were some revelations. So the Washington Post, as you know, we reported on here, the Washington Post had some files that implemented delegate from the Virgin Islands, all right, a Democratic delegate by the name of Stacey Plaskett. Stacey Plaskett happened to be on an oversight committee talking to, at the time, Donald Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen, or the fixer, as they call him, and was taking cues from Jeffrey Epstein, who was texting her in real time while she was sitting up there on the committee stand. All right. He was texting her in real time. He was even scolding her for chewing gum and saying, "Are you chewing gum? And what are you doing?" And giving her a pat on the head, say, "Oh, good job." As he was coaching her through what to say to Michael Cohen. You can't make it up. So with all that being said, they decided to go ahead and censure her. So this is what happened on the House floor. All right. When I tell you the House is a mess, this is like Passions. This is like General Hospital. This is like All My Children. You can't make it up. And these are supposed to be the lawmakers in this country. These are supposed to be the people that represent us. Absolutely atrocious. Let's get into it.
Resolution 888, censoring and condemning Delegate Stacey Plaskett and removing her from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence for conduct that reflects the discredibility on the House of Representatives for colluding with convicted felon and offender Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing. Whereas Stacey Plaskett, the delegate representing the United States Virgin Islands in the House of Representatives, inappropriately coordinated in real time with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in a congressional hearing in February of 2019. Whereas Delegate Plaskett was actively coached by Epstein during the hearing, receiving instructions on specific lines of questioning, and was congratulated after the message by Mr. Epstein, "Good work." Whereas Jeffrey Epstein, the Speaker of the House, is not in order.
The gentleman has the floor. The chair would again ask the body to please observe decorum and keep conversations to a minimum. The gentleman has the floor.
Whereas Jeffrey Epstein was a known convicted felony sex offender, having pled guilty and been convicted for procuring a child for prostitution and solicitation, a proselyte in a plea deal in 2008, and served a 13-month prison sentence.
So let's unpack that really quick. So what you see down here at the bottom, right? Down here is a email from Stacey Plaskett to, of course, none other than people with Jeffrey Epstein. And he says, she says, "Good morning. If you would share the invitation with Jeffrey, I very much appreciate it. And it would be great. It would be grateful if I could get his support." Like, why do you need his support? I'm trying to understand. Why do you need Jeffrey Epstein's support? This is absolutely insane. But this is some of the stuff that came out in the emails that they didn't talk about. They kept talking to us about, "Oh, he's mentioned." Well, these people are mentioned as well. Okay. But anyway, so that is Stacey Plaskett. Okay. And so they decided to do a censure. Well, Stacey Plaskett had, people in her corner. She had Brooklyn Hakeem, Brooklyn Barack, Hakeem Jeffries. He was on the floor speaking for Stacey Plaskett. Here we go. You can't make this stuff up.
We believe in transparency. We believe in accountability. We believe in due process.
Child, please.
That's the opposite of what is happening on the floor today. And let me be very clear about Stacey Plaskett. She's a woman of great intelligence and a woman of great integrity.
No, she's not.
And she deserves better than what she's receiving from House Republican extremists.
Now speaking to a sex offender.
She deserves the opportunity to be heard.
No, she don't.
She deserves due process.
No, she
She
doesn't.
deserves the ability to make her case.
That's why she has no vote.
Not to be prosecuted by petty foggers, playing lawyer on the floor of the House of Representatives. Google that if you don't know what it means. We believe in transparency. We believe in accountability.
See, while he's sitting there trying to be all smart and, oh, Google this if you don't know what it means. I hope you are Googling the fact that you are going to be primaried by that socialist in New York City, okay? And I'm not talking about Zoran, okay? He has a whole different challenger because the millennial socialists are about to take you up out of there. However, that is what Brooklyn Hakeem, as he calls himself, or Brooklyn Barack, as they call him when he's talking to Jeffrey Epstein. We'll get to that shortly. But that's what he had to say about Stacey Plaskett on her behalf of her being censured because they wanted to take her out of her job for this. This is an ethics violation, in my opinion. But here is none other than Ratchet Crockett, who, when she gets a hairstyle, child, she stick with it. All right. She has had this Rapunzel look for about 4 weeks to a month now. I mean, it's better than the wig, but you know, I'm just saying. She also wanted to speak on Plaskett's behalf.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly.
Oh, you did?
Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red,
Shocker.
McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous. You just...
Yes, the filings are there for everybody to review, including yours, okay? Where you guys, the Democrats, are talking so much about the Saudis and Trump. Ma'am, that one right there, okay? Dragon Tails there. She decided to take money from Qatar, you know, for luxury this and luxury that. You can't make it up, all right? They're just dirty. The rhinos that are Republicans, they're dirty, and so is the Democrats, who, in my opinion, are the most dirty. But that was what Ratchet Crockett had to say on behalf of Stacey Plaskett. Now, this one here, okay? Here is the representative from Florida who decided to speak up because Stacey Plaskett will not be punished because the rhinos, meaning the rhino Republicans, have decided that they would do backdoor deals because they have one of their rhinos who will be investigated for House ethics. So they decided to take that and swap it for not withdrawing the Democrat for House ethic issues. You can't make it up. Here we go.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Florida seek recognition?
I have a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentlelady from Florida will state her inquiry.
I was wondering if the Speaker of the House of Representatives can explain why leadership on both sides, both Democrat and Republican, are cutting back-end deals to cover up public corruption in the House of Representatives from both Republican and Democrat members of Congress.
The gentlelady has not stated a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you very much, but I think the American people know what happened tonight.
And that was Miss Luna. Okay, that was Miss Luna from Florida. All right. And Miss Representative Luna is basically saying that, hey, what happened? Okay, this woman is supposed to get punished, but we're doing backdoor deals all because you guys have a rhino of your own that you don't want to be punished. So we're going to let the Democrats do what they want to do. It's all ridiculous. Nasty work. Exactly. So let's move on. Here is Stacey Plaskett on behalf of herself, speaking up for herself about all of this, okay? When I tell you, I just feel like Candy Burgess, the lies, the lies, the lies. Okay. I feel it. I just feel like that because it's so many lies that this woman is getting ready to tell. I want you guys to check this out. All right. Here we go.
All right. Well, we are just learning that the Senate has now sent over that legislation on releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files over to the president's desk. We're monitoring that. Also, you have, this ongoing Epstein saga, Wolf.
And there's a lot of drama still unfolding. The Epstein saga hasn't been without controversy for Democrats as well. The House last night narrowly rejected a Republican effort to censure our next guest, Democratic Delegate Stacey Plaskett, over a text she exchanged with Epstein during a 2019 congressional hearing with President Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen. 3 Republicans joined all Democrats to defeat the effort to remove her from the House Intelligence Committee, with another 3 voting present. Congressman Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands is joining us right now. You're a delegate, a non-voting delegate right now. Tell us a little bit about your reaction to all these late developments.
Well, first I want to thank the Democrats, the Democratic caucus, not only for voting with me, but for speaking on my behalf during the general debate, as well as those members in the Republican Party who voted with the Democrats, and those who tacitly voted with us by either voting present or not voting at all during the censure. And I'm hopeful that we can now get back to the work that we do in Congress rather than the political theater that has been happening. The files have been released, which I have been in favor of all along. And let's let the victims get their justice and let us get to the work of Congress. We've been on over a 70-day paid time off. Democrats have been doing town halls, coming back to Congress. Republicans have been nowhere in sight. And the people of this country are in need of our support and of the work that needs to be done.
We know
we got to get rid of people like this. That woman should be out of here. Absolutely should be out of here. But we have rhinos and we have stupid Democrats that allow her to stay.
That Epstein had property in the Virgin Islands, right?
Yes.
What was your relationship with Epstein?
So Jeffrey Epstein was a constituent. He was a resident of the Virgin Islands, lived there, I guess, more than half of the year because he was registered there. I had received donations from him.
Did you?
After the last investigation came out, which was after this texting, I gave any donations that I'd previously received from him to women's organizations.
Lies.
And did not have any contact with him. But
lies. So this woman right here receive donations from Jeffrey Epstein. And there it is. She has an actual relationship with him. Jeffrey Epstein had houses, I guess, on the Virgin Islands. Had an island in the Virgin Islands. I wonder what it was called. However, that is why these Democrats like Jeffrey Epstein, okay? Bill Clinton, all of them. That's why Mark is like, no, it's not the Democrats, it's the Republicans. Are there some rhinos that you'll probably find in those Jeffrey Epstein files? Yeah. However, it's mostly the Dems. Okay. And if we really want to call a thing, when Donald Trump was hanging with Jeffrey Epstein, he was a what? A Democrat. Okay. So miss me with the whole, no, it's Republicans. No. It's the liberals. They knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Just like they know now. She knew. Okay. The man had already been arrested. Like, it's absolutely insane and stupid. Okay. But that was Stacey Plaskett. Now, let's move on to the last part of this. So also on the House floor was James Comer. Okay. Talking about Radio Hakeem, aka Hakeem Jeffries, and what he had entwined with Jeffrey Epstein, because they're all involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Here we go.
Colleagues' coordination with Epstein. Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries as part of their 2013 effort to win a majority. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein. That's what we found in the last document batch.
That's right.
The files underscore why former President Trump must appear for his deposition. We've subpoenaed him. To date, the Democrats have done nothing to help us secure his appearance. I support full transparency. The Oversight Committee will continue to work to get the truth to the American people and to get justice for the victims. That's our goal of this investigation.
Now, if you look on the screen, this email is from Hakeem Jeffries' campaign, okay? Because they have, people that run their campaigns. And it says, "Dear Jeffrey, we're thrilled to announce that we're working with the Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, better known, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn Barack." Child, they all liken themselves with Barack, okay? Just because you're light skinned or you mixed doesn't mean you are Barack Obama, okay? Like one child, it's just ridiculous. Anywho, that is what Hakeem Jeffries' campaign was doing in the year 2013, okay? And this was well after Jeffrey Epstein had been found to be a pedo. So they knew. They absolutely knew. All right. So let's move on from that. All right. So we have, of course, Radio Hakeem here to talk about why this was so, and to say that he doesn't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, let me ask you about you, because the White House has been highlighting an email that I'm sure you've seen today that Jeffrey Epstein got in 2013. They say it shows you were soliciting money and dinner from an Epstein. The email was not sent from you. It was sent from a political consulting firm called Dynamic SRG that says, "We are thrilled to announce we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you would like to get involved." What's your response? Do you recall that email being sent to Jeffrey Epstein from that team?
Yeah, of course, I have no recollection of the email. I've never had a conversation with him, never met him, know nothing about him other than the extreme things that he's been convicted of doing. And that's why, I'm just strongly supportive of the effort, backing the survivors to make sure that everything can come out, whatever is in those Department of Justice files.
Well, let me ask you about you, because the White House...
Brooklyn Barack, okay, Brooklyn Hakeem, Radio Hakeem is lying. He's absolutely lying. But as you can see, they all took money from Jeffrey Epstein, had no problem with taking money. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is just mentioned. He's not even talking to him in these emails. But that shows that he's a pedo. But you can actually talk to him, ask him for money, he's a part of, your constituency. So you get to talk to him on a regular basis and text with him while sitting on the oversight committee. And it's absolutely not a problem. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Here's more of the nonsense from Stacey.
Does Representative Plaskett have anything to say? Business Insider has reported on this as recently as, I believe, July of 2023. About meeting with Jeffrey Epstein in 2018 and receiving $30,000 of campaign contribution.
Jeffrey Epstein was a resident of the Virgin Islands. He wanted to make contributions to the Democratic Party. He asked for contributions. He made contributions to my campaign. I do believe that he was a reprehensible person. And after finding out what he had done, I gave the money that he had contributed to my campaign to nonprofit organizations dealing with supporting women and children in my community.
Does Representative Plaskett have any?
She keeps saying that. It's absolutely a lie. We can look up what you did with the campaign funds, ma'am. It absolutely went to your campaign. That's why they're questioning you about it. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Okay. Now, I want to get into one last point here. All right. This is what we should be talking about. But the Democrats don't have a plan. Okay. They don't have a plan. They don't have anything going on to actually say what we need to be doing with what they shut the government down for. What did they shut the government down for? According to them, they shut the government down for healthcare. Okay. So what about the healthcare? We haven't heard anything about it. All we keep hearing about is the Epstein files, the Epstein files, the Epstein files, ever since the government has been back open. So I like that at least they tried. BS Now, okay, decided that they would ask Hakeem Jeffries about this because even if you get the subsidies for the ACA, it's going up because Obamacare is trash. It was trash then. People told you, economists told you that it was going to go up. This was a bad deal. It was bad when Mitt Romney did it. I don't know why Obama expounded on it. Who knows? He has a bunch of bad policies. However, they asked Hakeem Jeffries about this. So I want to get into that really quick, you guys. And it's important because this is what we should be talking about. Here we go.
Leader Jeffries, though, even with those tax credits, premiums are exploding. And they'll be exploding under Obamacare. They'll be exploding in private health care. I mean, at what point are we going to sit down and figure out a systemic approach that actually is sustainable? Because we're not in it now. And again, even with those tax credits, the Obamacare premiums explode. Even worse, private healthcare premiums explode. Denials of coverage multiplying. A lot of those denials coming reportedly from AI. Like this system is failing the American people, and it's only going to get worse. What are we going to do?
Nothing.
There's no doubt about that, Joe. We have a broken healthcare system, and unfortunately, Republicans have decided to break it even further. And this relates to things that go beyond their refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. In this year alone, what we've seen is Republicans enact the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. 14 million people are being denied their coverage as a result of the fact that they've passed this one big ugly bill. We see hospitals and nursing homes and community-based health centers closing all across the country. In this appropriations process that we're in right now, Republicans are trying to enact a $1.7 billion cut to the Centers for Disease Control. That will be the largest cut to the CDC in American history. And at the same time, they want to enact a historic cut to the National Institutes of Health. So this has been an all-out assault on the health care of the American people. And the system was already broken because of some of the dynamics that you've referenced. And so, yes, we've said we want to sit down and find a bipartisan path forward to actually address the Republican healthcare crisis and create a system that enables everyday Americans to be able to go see a doctor when they need one. This is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. That's the least that should be expected in the context of people confronting serious medical illnesses.
Hakeem Jeffries. I am old enough to remember when Barack Obama actually put that in place, you know, the ACA, and the website didn't work. Okay. I am old enough to remember when if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor and your premiums won't go up. That didn't work. Okay. And he lied because it absolutely did. That's why we're talking about it now. And all those people got dropped from their coverage. Shocker. All right. I am old enough to remember, Hakeem Jeffries, when Barack Obama decided that he would penalize you on your taxes if you did not want health insurance. If you figured, I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm not going to get health insurance. Okay, well, I'm going to tax you. Okay. He did a tax on Americans. And it's still there. The subsidies just cover it. Okay. So you have that. I am old enough to remember that the subsidies were supposed to be temporary because they were COVID subsidies. Okay. I am old enough to remember this. I don't understand who Hakeem Jeffries thinks he's talking to. Maybe he thinks he's talking to the socialists that are going to replace him in the next primary. Okay. He's not talking to the average American person because we remember when this was put in place and it was trash then and it's trash now. And to say that this is a Republican healthcare crisis, it's been a healthcare crisis with Democrats since they did it. The Democrats have always been the ones messing up immigration and healthcare because Bill Clinton was the one that did IRA that messed up immigration, that had all this stuff backlogged to where they just start jumping over the border. Okay. The DACA came under Barack when he wanted to give a alley-oop to, Crooked Hillary coming in. So he started doing DACA and all this other stuff after years of mistreating the illegals, because pretty much he did the same thing Donald Trump did. So I'm going to call it mistreating because that's what you guys call it. All right. And so he did the same exact thing. But then when he needed them, he put them on the roll, gave them free health care, all of this stuff. This is what's costing us. This is why our health care is exploding. We have bad policies by these Democrats. These Democrats have been doing all of this stuff since forever. And now, in the words of Malcolm X, the chickens have come home to roost. And now we're paying for it dearly. Absolutely. We're paying for it. And unfortunately for us, who are hardworking Americans, who are entrepreneurs, who are this and that and the third, we are going to be paying more, or you're just probably not going to have health care if you're young enough and you think you can stomach it, right? Meanwhile, the illegals, they go into the emergency room and they get seen, and then we still foot the bill as taxpayers because we have to pay the hospital back. So Hakeem Jeffries is full of you-know-what. But that's what we should be talking about. But Hakeem Jeffries wants you to focus on, just like with Russia, Epstein. So you don't ask him, what about the ACA and these subsidies that should be gone? Because we're overpaying and they're not lowering the healthcare. Just like with immigration, they haven't fixed healthcare, and they're not going to. They're trash. The Democrats and the Rhino Republicans alike are trash. They don't want to fix it. They need a problem to run on. Okay. I tell people all the time, I'm a MAGA Republican. Okay. I do vote Republican pretty much all the time because it aligns with stateside. It aligns with my local policies, right? So I don't have 1,000% increase in property taxes like in Chicago when you elect these Democrats. But let's be clear. There are a lot of rhinos up there on Capitol Hill, right along with those neocon Democrats, okay? I can't stand any of them. Stacey Plaskett should be gone. We know why she's not gone, okay? It's all the same. It's absolutely all the same. And the American people are going to suffer for it because we cannot get rid of the trash that exists in Washington. Throw the whole government away, start over. You guys, thank you so much. I have been here 2 hours. I knew it was going to be a long one because I had to get through all of that, because I had to break all of that down because it's just irritating my life that people have no context behind what's actually going on. So now you know what's going on, what has happened, what has been going down. Now we can, be unburdened by what has been. Okay. In the words of drunken Kamala. That woman is an absolute fool. But I love it because it makes me smile because I have to laugh at how incompetent she is. Can't make it up. Let me go ahead and read these last super chats. Hey, Lex. Thank you so much, love. $9.99 super chat. The skincare is showing because you're glowing. Thank you. Thank you. I exfoliate. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Lex. Thank you. And then we have, let me scroll. We have Magnetar with the $5 super chat. Hey, Mika, I hope you like iced coffee drinks. I do. Sometimes, depending on if it's mocha. Also, it rained pretty good here in Vegas yesterday and today. Feds, we up. Yeah. It rained here as well. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Iced coffee is an acquired taste, and I only drink it sometimes. But you guys, thank you so much for pulling up. Thank you, Reggie. I appreciate that. As always, you guys, let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want to talk about. You can put it down in the comment section. I'm always in the comment section. I'm very active. You can go to, any of the community posts. I check those as well. I'm on multiple social media platforms as well as Pop Culture Mika and as the Red Cup. Okay. So you could check me out on multiple platforms as well. And thank you for supporting the channel. Again, thank you for all your super chats. Thank you for the likes, the shares, your engagement, because that matters as well. YouTube looks at everything, okay, when they decide to push this stuff out. So thank you. I appreciate it. And last but not least, thank you for tuning in and, being here with me 2 hours, because I usually do an hour. So this was wild. But thank you. And I'm going to do roll call. Thank you, Yukar. Thank you, Nick J. Thank you to Reggie. Thank you, Menelik. I think I'm getting it. Kind of. Thank you so much for pulling up. And thank you. That looked phenomenal. I appreciate that. Thank you to Orlando. Okay. Yep. Conservative mindset all the way. Loud and clear. Chavez. Thank you. I appreciate that. Loso Way. Thank you. Denzel. Donna. Hey, love. Who else? Lex. Gerard. Thank you so much. The Genius CEO. Thank you. Libido Network. Shadow Dragon. Mandy. Thank you. D for Maryland. Thank you so much. Who else? Enforcer 2K9. Thank you. George Everett, Tyrone, Artifacts. Thank you all. Agency, Got Flavor, Chris Chapman, Alisa. Thank you. Bo, Super Tim 1, a done 920. Thank you. Or 920. However you want to say it. Let me know. Thank you so much. Terry Dowley. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Who else in here? I think, hold on. Brother Reg, OG Japan Life. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Magnetar, thank you. Taurus Prince, thank you so much. Jay, thank you. Who else we have here? Mr. Hunter, thank you. Rodney, Gerald. Oh my gosh. It was a lot of different people. Sugar Shane. Thank you guys. I appreciate everybody who super chatted, who sent the Cash App. Thank you guys so much. As always, it's your girl Mika. Again, check me out on all platforms. Like, comment, and subscribe. And share if you care. It's your girl Mika. And I'm out. Peace.